Hi there, this is Mitch. Today I'm going to do a little video about these Pleione orchids called Pleione maculata. Um, they're a little tiny orchid from, I think, China and Thailand and Burma. They're really pretty when they bloom. They have white flowers with multicolored, like purple and yellow lips. I've been growing these orchids for about 5 years, 4 years. And actually, these ones I just got last spring. These ones are the ones that I've been growing for the longest. And actually, as you can see, they're so tiny. Um, I didn't really grow them very well, so I figured I'd do a little video about them because when I first started growing them, I found there was some conflicting information about these plants because most Pleione orchids, they really like it cool, and so a lot of the literature that I read said, you know, grow these plants cool and not a lot of low light. And yeah, they weren't happy. As you can see, the ones that I started growing last spring, they're like 3-4 times the size of these little ones that I've had for a long time. And actually this pot had another bulb in there, but it just wasted away last year, so it never came back. So one thing I found with these plants is that they like it really warm, much warmer than I thought they could handle. So in my growing area it gets 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, and when they were dormant last winter, it never got really cool down here. It was about 10-15 degrees Celsius, so they were pretty happy. I just kept them kind of dry when they were dormant, and I think they're going into their dormant phase now because you can see the leaves are turning pretty brown and they're gonna fall off soon. Yeah, and I can see some little bumps starting here, so that's where the flowers are gonna come from. And as you can see, the difference between these ones where I grew them cool, there's only 3 bulbs and they never multiplied, whereas these ones, this was a pot of 3 bulbs and now I have 5 bulbs because this one produced 2 giant bulbs and this one produced 2 giant bulbs, and this one had actually 3 bulbs and it grew 2 new bulbs each that are huge. So I'm pretty happy about that because now I have almost twice as many of the same variety, and should have some nice flowers coming up. So the way I grow these is, again, I grow them under my lights. I think I grew them a little bit too close because it did burn the tips, and so I moved the lights higher up. I just am learning how to grow using grow lights, so it's a bit of a learning curve. And I did fertilize them. Like, what I did was once every 3rd watering I would give them fertilizer, and I read that this seaweed extract was really good, so I did 1 fertilization with that seaweed extract. I'd water twice with normal water in between, and then the 3rd watering I do just regular African violet fertilizer. You can get this little fertilizer that has it's like a dropper liquid that you mix in, and so I would alternate between the 2 the whole time that they were growing, and they actually look so good. I'm really excited about them. So yeah, I just started getting into Pleione orchids last year. I became kind of obsessed with them. Pleione maculata, like I said, this one was my first one. I got that one about 4 years ago off eBay, and it kind of grew from there. So this is another kind of variety that I read about. It's called Pleione praecox, and I just got these tiny little bulbs here last spring, so they were really tiny, and then these are the new ones that grew this year. So it's actually, they put on quite a bit of size. They look really happy. This is another one that I read is kind of more, could be warm growing, so we'll see how they do this winter, but I'm pretty excited because yeah, I feel like I did something right with my Pleiones, and I'm excited to get some flowers out of them. Yeah, so that's that for those orchids. Oh, I just wanted to add something about growing orchids under lights, because actually Pleiones, I didn't see a lot of information about people growing these plants under grow lights. Everybody seems to grow them outside or on their windowsill from what I've seen, but I just wanted a little bit of more of a controlled environment, and my Pleione maculatas were doing so well this year inside that I moved most of my Pleiones under lights as well. So they've all been growing under lights, and actually when I thought about it, I kind of liked more the thought of having a controlled environment and growing them in a protected space where they weren't kind of exposed to bugs or a lot of rain, and you know, I could control the amount of light and fertilizer and see if I could get them to grow really well. So one thing I learned is not to put grow lights too close to plants. So actually I have a pretty big growing area in my little space here, and yeah, that's one thing I learned, was don't put your plants too close to the grow lights, because a lot of them have like burned leaf tips now because of, you know, like here you can see they got too much light, and they got really pale, and a lot of the new growths on a lot of my cattleyas and stuff, they just got really small. And yeah, so I moved my lights away, so they're about 12 inches away from the tops of the leaves now. I'm kind of gonna try that, because you know, the thing with growing plants is if you make a mistake and you adjust the environment, you kind of have to wait till all the new growths start to see how things are doing. So you know, in the next year I should see if that made a big difference in how the plants grow, because even some of my larger cattleyas are getting really small because I think it's just like too much light. So like I'll show you, this is my Cattleya Trianae alba, and when I got it, you can see it had these big leaves, and then the last couple of growths are down here, these little ones, and they're so little, but they have their little bloom sheaths and stuff, so they're, yeah, they're just really small. Oh, looks like I have some spikes coming up here. This is a cool new plant. It's like a Laelia rubescens semi-alba. Looks like I'm gonna have 3 nice spikes, and I love this one because look at these cool bulbs. So pretty, and the nice flat leaves. But anyway, my Pleiones are mostly over here, and yeah, I moved the lights up away from everything because my stuff was burning, just too hot and too bright. And I noticed that yeah, I filled the spaces between the lights too. Like if you can see here, I have lights, they're about 1.5 feet apart, and then I grow some stuff in between the lights now because it's pretty bright there, and like I said, it's a bit of a learning curve. So yeah, the Pleiones, I keep them about 1.5 feet away, and they seem to like that. And yeah, they did better inside than I thought they would compared to outside. Like I was surprised how well these ones did. So I'm gonna continue trying to grow them under lights, and the only thing will be giving them enough of a cold period. Well, not the maculatas obviously, but the other Pleiones I have. These ones I'm just gonna leave them dry, and then hopefully, because they're in kind of an unheated space in the winter, so the temperatures should come down to about 10 degrees overnight, 10-15 degrees. We'll see. And yeah, hopefully everything will do well. So far, everything that I put down here is doing really well, just because of the temperatures and the amount of light that everything gets. Like I have some really nice big Laelias over there, Laelias and Cattleyas and like Lycastes, and yeah. Since I'm down here, I may as well show you some of my other Pleiones that I have growing. So this one, I think this one, oh, this one's beautiful. It's a Pleione confusa, and it's called Golden Gate. So it has really beautiful yellow and red flowers that are huge, and I'm happy because these bulbs look massive too. And it has some little baby bulbs starting, so that's good. I always like when plants kind of grow bigger and I have more plants. So I forget what this one is. This one is Pleione. Oh, this is a white Pleione. I forget what the actual name is. Pleione Formosana Snow White. So that one looks like, yeah, it has a couple new bulbs. It's weird because the old bulb didn't really dry up. It just has two little bulbs, and then it looks like this is the bulb that I started with, and there's two little ones starting there. Geez, see, this is why I need to label plants, because I don't remember what anything is, but this one is a cross. I forget the name, but it's Pleione Formosana crossed with Pleione praecox. So that one has really pretty purple and yellow flowers in the spring. And then these are my Pleione Formosanas. They're starting to lose their leaves now, so they don't look really nice anymore. But you know, we're getting into fall, so they're getting ready for their dormancy. And yeah, they're all different kinds. This is another Pleione praecox. I got some little tiny bulbs on eBay. I got so excited because my other ones were doing so well that I got some other ones, and again, like, they just look so good. Like the little leaves, everything, they doubled in size. So when I got them, they were tiny, and these ones just look so good. So I'm gonna have so many Pleione maculatas. These ones, I think someone sent me them. I forget what they are. Pleione piton sering. I think that one's supposed to be really nice. And Pleione Burnsall. Oh, that one's supposed to be really, really nice. So they're starting to lose their leaves, getting ready for the fall. So I'm cutting down on my watering now and just letting them go dormant, which will be great because now I don't have to come down to my growing area and water them as much. And I actually, those ones, a lot of these will go into the fridge, not the Pleione maculata, but a lot of these I'll unpot them and put them in a fridge and let them get their cold spell. So Pleiones are really fun to grow. I started reading a lot about them in the spring last year, and yeah, they're just, because I really like spring flowers. These ones bloom in the spring and they have a nice little spring flowering, and it's just flowers and then the leaves grow in, and I think the leaves are really pretty too. And yeah, after they bloom and grow, then they go dormant. So it's nice because in the winter, like all of these, actually I haven't decided if I'm going to put them in the fridge yet or if I'm just going to leave them outside, because I live on the west coast, so it doesn't really get too cold here, and I was wondering if they would be able to survive the winter outside. I did leave them outside for most of the spring this year, but they did get a cold period in the fridge. So anyway, I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with them yet, because there are quite a lot of them. Like, I have a lot, so yeah, I'm not sure if I should bother with the unpotting and repotting. It seems like it's a lot of work, and from what I've seen, some of the nicest Pleiones I've seen growing on the internet, people just kind of leave them in the pots and they get really crowded and they grow, you know, people just keep them dry over the winter and they come back in the spring. So Anyway, if any of you grow Pleione orchids and you have any extra information for me or want to share your story, please send me a comment or what have you, and I'd be really interested because I love sharing information, and I like when people share their pictures with me of their plants. So anyway, thanks for watching.